You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, a UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 141 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and back with me again in the kitchen studio this week is my co-host, Matt Smith.
Well, hello there. Did anyone miss me while I was away?
Everyone missed you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Twitter blew up.
Did it?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I wouldn't
everyone
go that
missed
far,
you.
But yes, no. Yes, I was having a 1 week sabbatical as it was my birthday.
Well, we had a few technical issues, but nothing that didn't get sorted out in the edit.
It's fine. So nobody had any idea that it was anything wrong.
Only those who were with us in the chat room last week would have known that we had no audio on the stingers. So.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all right. You see, they would have never have known because I even took those bits out in the edit. So why did you mention it, silly boy?
I know.
Anyway, there we are. Yeah,
there we go. So it is the 2nd of December, and it's just coming up to 8 p.m. here in the UK.
Yep.
We're a tad late this evening starting,
okay.
but we have got loads of people in the chat room with us from across the globe,
yes,
and including
all the usual suspects,
including our guest from last week, David Corson. He's in the chat room. So hello to you. I hope you enjoyed the show with David last week. And we want to thank everyone for joining us in the chat room this evening.
We do, yes.
And, as it is quite late,
yeah,
we
absolutely.
really need to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to do? Should we? Because obviously I wasn't here last week because it was my birthday.
Yes, it was.
And
it was Matt's birthday.
We've put a couple of little bits and pieces together with the aid of the legend that is the technical genius that is Nev. So for all those who may or may not be interested, if not, then you want to probably spool through the next sort of 16 minutes. But
so we're going to do these first?
Should we do that, or do you want to do it later? Don't mind. Should we do some news first?
We'll do some news first. Let's do some news first.
All right, then. In that case, I'm ready to go.
So we are going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So, if you're ready, Matt.
Yes, I think I am. Yes.
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story on Flight Global's website, and it's the story regarding the crash that happened earlier this week with the football team in Colombia on the Bolivian Aero RJ185 that sadly crashed. The headline, fuel emergency reported by Bolivian Aero RJ85 before fatal crash. So the flight crew of the Bolivian British Aerospace Avro RJ85 that crashed in Colombia had declared a fuel emergency while waiting to land at the Medellin Airport in Rio Negro, according to an air traffic control recording. Operated by charter carrier Lamia Bolivia, the aircraft was awaiting clearance for final approach to the airport, which had been temporarily closed due to an unscheduled arrival of a Viva Colombia flight. The pilot of the Avro RJ85 initially mentioned an issue with fuel while communicating with the Medellin Airport's ATC, according to the recording reviewed by Flight Global. The air traffic controller responded and said that the runway at Medellin would be reopened within around 7 minutes and indicated that an Lamia Bolivia would be given priority to land over other flights operated by Avianca and LATAM Airlines Group. The Lamia Bolivia flight was assigned flight level 210 but declared a fuel emergency 2 minutes later, which prompted ATC to assign the aircraft an approach path while warning the crew of other aircraft below and ahead of it. However, the Lamia Bolivia crew said they were already below other aircraft which were holding at flight level 180. Around 4.5 minutes after declaring a fuel emergency, the Lamia Bolivia crew alerted ATC to a total electrical failure and fuel failure and repeatedly shouted, "Give me vectors." The air traffic controller attempted to guide the pilots to the Rio Negro VOR, but she said she could not ascertain the aircraft's altitude. The pilot confirmed that the aircraft was at an altitude of 9,000 feet and again requested for vectors. ATC told the crew that they were around 8.2 miles from the runway, which has an elevation of 7,000 feet. The ATC subsequently lost contact with the aircraft 6 minutes after it declared an emergency. Medellin Airport had to temporarily close its runways following the diversion of a Viva Colombia Airbus A320 to the airport after its flight crew reported a cabin alert. Viva Colombia says the flight crew had diverted as a precautionary measure and did not declare an emergency. The Viva Colombia aircraft was operating from Bogota to San Andres. The crash of the Avro RJ-85, which broke into pieces after coming down in a mountainous area, killed 71 people while 6 survived. Colombian authorities initially reported that 81 people had been on board, but subsequently revised the passenger numbers. There are no signs of fire at the crash site of the aircraft, indicating that the jet could have run out of fuel, and a source at the Argentina's Transport Ministry tells Flight Global that Lamia Bolivia, which had operated a flight to Argentina earlier this month from Brazil, had arrived in Buenos Aires with only 15 minutes of fuel reserves on board. Questions have also been raised over Lamia Bolivia's operation of the Avro RJ-85, which has an operational range that is just slightly higher above the distance of the flight between Medellin and Santa Cruz in Bolivia, where the aircraft took off from. So, Matt, you put some pictures on the screen.
I did,
there
yeah, absolutely.
Of what was going on there. And it's sad news because it was a football team that was on this aircraft, and it's a lot of that team have sadly died, which is very incredibly sad.
There are amazingly though, despite this awful tragedy, there is a very small number of survivors, which is frankly incredible. I mean, especially when you look at
you see the mess,
the mess essentially.
Yeah.
So. As you say, and one of the things I do remember hearing in the news, obviously, when they were covering this, it was one of the reasons why was because it didn't burst into flames, and I'm just amazed that there wasn't. I don't know, something's not right. Do you know what I mean? It's like
a fuel. They weren't carrying enough fuel to
I did.
to get them out of trouble.
Obviously has gone terribly.
Because as most people know in the chat room, all passenger aircraft all carry the reserve of fuel in case of diversions and holding and stuff like that. So. For anyone who wants to find out more information, up-to-date information on this, don't forget you can nip over to the Aviation Herald website. Simon's great site over there. It's updated daily and has some pictures and stuff on there from the crash site.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
So moving on to the next story, which is just for a change this week.
Right. Okay. This is on.
As you're back.
As I'm back. Yes. This is on the Express newspaper, express.co.uk. So I'm very excited to be reading a story from them because they're always so truthful. It is Ryanair's holidays airline launch flight accommodation and transfer package deal. Ryanair launched its first ever package holiday deal today, revealing the news at a London press conference. Ryanair Holidays will launch today across the UK. Ryanair has today launched a package holiday service named Ryanair Holidays, offering its 119 million customer flights, accommodation and transfer packages. Available on the Ryanair.com website, the Irish-based firm claims to be able to offer the best holidays at the lowest prices. Ryanair has partnered with Spain-based tour operator Logitravel and accommodation provider World to Meet to create Ryanair Holidays. The new package deal launches in the UK, Ireland and Germany today, with other markets set to follow in 2017. In London, Ryanair's Kenny Jacobs said that Ryanair's low fares transformed air travel in Europe, and now we're going to transform the package holiday market with the launch of Ryanair Holidays, offering our customers the unbeatable combination of Ryanair's low fares, a wide range of accommodation options and transfers, all on the Ryanair.com website and all at the lowest prices. Customers have been paying too much for package holidays for years and more want to put their own packages together themselves. Ryanair customers already enjoy the biggest route network in Europe, and with Ryanair Holidays can choose from with Ryanair Holidays they can choose from a fantastic range of 3, 4 and 5-star hotels throughout the Mediterranean and European capital cities. Ideal for last-minute getaways, summer family holidays, winter sun or city breaks. He revealed that following the launch of Ryanair Car Hire and Ryanair Rooms, even more customers are going to Ryanair for services and products other than flights.
I'm going to have to try this and see if this is actually any good.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, I always use Travel Republic when I'm
Yeah.
booking the holidays and flights in a kind of, you know, without going direct to the suppliers, or like Kayak or one of those sites that people use and stuff. But if Ryanair are going to do kind of an all singing, all dancing package deal kind of thing,
As long as you're not. As long as like the accommodation's really cheap, but you're paying over the odds for your food and all that kind of thing.
It'd be actually
it'd be
interesting, Matt, to
interesting.
see what accommodation they're going to use. Whether they're
Yeah,
going to use
absolutely.
certain hotels or whether you're going to be able
I
to
think almost
choose many hotels.
Let's be honest, it's going to be hotels that they've got decent deals with, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which you can't blame them for. But then, as at the end of the day, a holiday is a holiday, isn't it? So
I wonder whether Ryanair will ever have their own hotels, like a Ryanair hotel.
I know EasyJet. did.
EasyJet, yeah,
they went
EasyJet
through.
do.
They do cruises and all
Yeah.
sorts, don't they? As part of their.
It'd be interesting to see a Ryanair hotel pop up somewhere. You know, they charge you to use.
I think we're in dangerous territory here. I think we should move on.
Anyway, moving on to the next story, and this one is on the edgemarkets.com website. And the headline, Malaysia Airlines to start new airline.
Oh.
So Kuala Lumpur Malaysian Airlines BHD, a wholly owned subsidiary of Khazanah Nasional BHD, has aborted plans to sell some of its Airbus A380 Super Jumbos. And instead will use all 6 of them to start up a new airline to serve the Hajj and Umrah market. In its group managing director and chief executive officer CEO Peter Bellew said the group is working towards finalising plans for the formation of a new airline, which is expected to be operational by the end of 2018. We will apply for the licence to start the new airline next year in 2017. And the plan is to hang on to those A380s for now until the new 6 A350s arrive in October 2017. Through April 2018, and then we will fly the A350s on routes between Kuala Lumpur and London, leaving the A380s to be utilised by the new airline, he told the Edge Financial Daily over the phone yesterday. In a statement yesterday, the national carrier said it's already transporting Muslim pilgrims on charter flights to Saudi Arabia successfully and is in a good position to cater for increased passenger demand on the route. According to Bellew, Malaysia Airlines is using one of the A380s to serve the Hajj and Umrah market, and the airline carried around 70,000 passengers on this route during a 9-month period ending 30th September this year. Malaysia Airlines has been trying to dispose of its A380s for a while now, and it had attempted to sell 2 of its 6 A380s in 2015, but did not find buyers and so elected to retain the aircraft until the A350s arrive. In February, its former CEO Christopher Muller was reported as saying that it was keeping all 6 of them until at least 2018 after retiring its fleet of Boeing 777s. Bellew had in June said Malaysia Airlines will retrofit the 6 A380s to introduce a premium economy seats by March next year and will sell the entire fleet by 2018. More recently, however, Bellew was reportedly saying that Malaysian Airlines is working on a new configuration for the A380s with Airbus that gives the group's new charter airline flexibility to have 650 seats with a small business class cabin or 700 seats in an all-economy configuration. In announcing its latest quarterly update, Malaysian Airlines said it carried 3.6 million passengers in the third quarter of September 30th to 2016, 9% more than the 3.3 million passengers carried in the second quarter of 2016. Passenger loads factors in the third quarter of 2016 improved to 79.3%, from 68.6% in the second quarter of 2016 and 74% in the third quarter of 2015. So it's good news for the A380s in the Malaysian fleet. At least they will be binning them off soon. But they haven't actually said on here what the new airline's going to be called.
No, perhaps they don't know yet.
Whether they don't know yet, or that.
Well, they're keeping it under wraps until launch, possibly. Yeah.
But I suppose maximise them and the capacity of the A380, because obviously it can carry 700 people in a hugely configured, massive economy configured, basis. So it'll work that way. But there's not. I don't think there's any airlines who do that yet, who fill up the aircraft to its maximum capacity. You know, that you kind of like to get a bit of leg room in between the next person in front of you. Yeah, I'd like. That's one of the airlines I'd love to see fly the A380, a Ryanair A380.
Oh, can you imagine?
Wow, he could
It'd be cosy.
pile people in there.
Absolutely,
Tell you.
really good ram them all in.
So moving on to the next story.
Yes, the next story is on the khou.com website. This is Houston, Texas. It's obviously a news channel of some description, which is why you heard a noise break out while I was doing it. But the headline is Houston couple reunited with dog lost by Mexican airline. A Houston couple was reunited with their dog in Mexico City Wednesday after the airline lost the pup. A few days ago, the airline Interjet tweeted a picture of Micah, who ran away when an airport worker dropped her crate. Micah's owners weren't told their dog was lost until they landed in Houston, so they went straight back to Mexico City. Micah was found Wednesday and reunited with her owners. The airline tweeted several pictures of their reunion before the couple got home. It's a very sweet story. Also, let me just pop some of those pictures up if you are watching in YouTube. It's a very cute dog, it has to be said. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit short, but nevertheless, very cute.
Is that an Alfie dog?
No, it's not an Alfie dog.
Isn't that an Alfie dog?
No, it's not an Alfie dog.
It looks like an Alfie dog.
Alfie would kill me if I put one of those around his neck.
Oh, okay.
To be, but so it's a very sweet story, and it's got a happy ending. Everything.
At least they found a dog.
They did indeed. Yes, a dog was found. Yes.
Everyone's going mental and looking at the chat room about a dog.
Oh, well,
lost dog.
Yeah,
lost dog.
I know. It's very sweet, very sad, but a happy ending.
Happy ending.
Yeah. I like the fact that they immediately jumped on the plane and went straight home, straight back. I can't believe they didn't tell them that the dog was missing. Surely they would have contacted them and say, because they must have known who the dog was supposed to be. They'd known which passenger it was associated to.
I know. I'd be gutted if they'd
daft.
lost Poppy. I'd sue the airline.
I don't. I don't think you. I can't imagine you putting Poppy in a crate, let alone
Poppy
getting on
wouldn't
an
do that.
aeroplane. Anyway,
so moving on to the next story,
Yeah.
and as Christmas is fast approaching,
Micah says he has the same puppy dog eyes. By the way,
bless him. But anyone who's getting ready for the Christmas festive period, and anyone who's in the chat room who's a fan of the Austrian airline Niki,
yes.
So on the local. .at website, this one, and the headline: Christmas trees fly for free with Austrian airline Niki. So if you're flying abroad this festive season and want to take your Christmas tree with you, don't despair. Austrian airline Fly Niki and German carrier Air Berlin will let you bring your spruce tree for free on all of their international flights.
Right.
The tree can be up to 2 meters high and must be booked on your flight 48 hours before it leaves via the airline group's service centre. Fly Niki said that 200 passengers took advantage of the offer last Christmas and believe that more people will want to fly with their trees this year. The majority of this is so bizarre. The majority of travellers who took a tree with them were travelling to Palma on the Spanish island of Mallorca. However, anyone who hates Christmas should avoid flying with Niki throughout December, as the guests will be greeted with the sounds of festive music as they board the aircraft. And after 6 p.m, flight attendants will serve free glasses of punch or glühwein. On December the 6th, all passengers will be treated to a chocolate St. Nicholas. Isn't that lovely? What's up?
Is it a slow news day, but it's slow news week by any chance, Carlos?
Did you ever spot trouble finding some stories this story week, and I thought this was so bizarre.
Okay.
I just had visions of all these people sitting on board, I don't know, say a Dreamliner.
With a Christmas tree sat
with
next
a Christmas
to them.
tree sat beside
Okay.
them, with a seatbelt on and some sort of baubles and tinsel, and don't say Gemma tinsel because she hates tinsel. And lights and yeah, she hates tinsel.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh.
And sort of sitting there with a little smiley face on,
Right.
and but I tell you what, the smell would be lovely with these trees on board the aircraft.
I literally have nothing to add to this conversation.
How's the chat room responding to that story?
I I don't know. Micah is discussing the possibility of making sure that the tree is housebroken before it gets on board, which I think is good.
Well, in the States, they have those, they fly with, or what they call them, the flyer.
Yeah. Myla has. I'm going to interrupt you because I'm so horrified by this story. Myla has just said, "Are you sure it wasn't written on April 1st?"
No. This is a brand new story,
sure?
Micah.
I don't believe you. Anyway, yes.
No, they have those comfort pets in the States. You're allowed to take your dog on board the aircraft in the US, to help you calm your nerves and all that. So perhaps some people are a bit worried.
I'm not aware of Christmas trees having calming properties, however. But anyway, can we move on to a slightly more serious story?
To the next story.
Yes, okay.
This is quite a serious story, the next one. I'll pick for you, Matt. So,
splendid. Yes, okay. Yeah. This is on the Richmond Times Dispatch website, and the headline is "Loaded Gun Found in Woman's Carry-On Luggage at Richmond International Airport." This is not good. A New Kent county woman was charged after a loaded gun was found on Wednesday in her carry-on luggage at Richmond International Airport. The Transportation Security Administration said on Thursday the .380. I'm not very good at this. The .380 caliber pistol was loaded with 3 bullets, including one in the chamber. The TSA said, "This is really worrying. I don't like this at all." The airport police confiscated the gun and cited the woman who lives in Quinton. The TSA also said, anyone who brings a firearm into an airport security checkpoint is subject to possible criminal charges from law enforcement and civil penalties from the TSA of up to $12,000, which frankly is not enough money. It's a very short story, but that is quite worrying. I can't believe in a time of heightened security
and with all the signs and
absolutely, that somebody would be silly enough to take. You don't take a handgun on an aircraft under any circumstances.
No.
I'm sorry, but then I guess don't get me wrong, we are far from perfect here in the UK, but
But the fee. Let's say the fine alone that the TSA charged $12,000.
Well, and I hope they levy the whole $12,000 on this lady for being so stupid. I'm sorry.
I know. Taking a loaded handgun on an aircraft is not really something you want to do in this day and age. No,
absolutely.
Even if you couldn't even forget it really if it was because they don't. They're not. They do weigh a weight. You're not going to miss the weight of this, but Crazy. So next story, moving on the site. This is on the brettbart.com website, and found this one earlier this week. And this story was really bizarre. And for those of you who look on YouTube, there's actually a video of this on YouTube. There's a picture as well, which Matt will put up in a second while I'm reading the story. But the headline is "Psych Eval Ordered After Woman Jumps Out of Airliner." So, Houston, Texas, a woman is undergoing psychological testing after she opened an airliner's emergency exit and jumped out of the plane.
Really?
Passengers said the woman gave no indication that anything was wrong when she suddenly opened the door of a United Airlines jet and made a hasty exit. The aircraft had just landed on a flight from New Orleans and had not yet reached a gate, according to a report. And they said that I look over and sunlight and I just see a figure essentially step out of it, Hampton Friedman said to reporters. And then I'm like, what was that? Friedman shot a video and posted it on YouTube shortly after the woman had exited the plane. The as-yet unidentified woman jumped nearly 15 feet from the wing of the plane and took off running across the tarmac, according to witnesses on the aircraft. She was eventually captured by the authorities on the ground. Her unorthodox departure from the aircraft left passengers worried she might have left something behind that could harm them and the aircraft.
Yeah.
Law enforcement officials with bomb dogs quickly boarded the aircraft and found that nothing unusual had been left behind. Kathy Cole had observed the woman's behaviour during the flight, and in a Facebook post she had wrote, "A lady opened the emergency exit door, which she was seated next to, and jumped off the plane, ran to the terminal. We stopped for a short gate waiting, so she got we stopped for a short while waiting for the gate, and she got the exit door open and jumped off onto the tarmac. Several people said that we have a runner. Before we knew it, the door was open." And now it turns out she was Now it turns out she was in NO at United Desk. Not pointing out there, but and also the apparently according to this, the woman had paid cash to get on the flight. She said as well. But there's loads of other bits and reports on here. How it makes sense really, but. You see the pictures that Matt brought up on the screen there.
I played the video out.
The video, yeah. I mean, the video just shows,
shows the door.
There's people sitting there just sort of on the phones, and there's the I think that's the overwing exit door that she's opened on the aircraft. So,
very odd, very, very odd. I mean, it does, as you say, they're quite right though. Thinking, well, what she left on the plane? She opened the door and just does a runner. I mean, it's very strange.
I mean, that is quite a I mean, that was only a little 737. That I
don't think it really matters what
even
plane
so,
it is.
It's quite high. It's still high up the ground. It's not really somewhere you want to be jumping from.
No, it's not.
Unless you're in a hurry to get out, I suppose.
Well, yeah, but as it said though, I mean, like these passengers and stuff. Why is she suddenly in such a hurry to get out? Was there something on the plane that people needed to be worried about? But so
moving on to the next story.
Yeah, the next story. This is on the news.com.au. So this is an Australian website. Is that correct? And it's news.com.au, and the headline is: Aviation startup aims to bring supersonic jet speed to commercial airlines. Ooh, this is exciting. Commercial air flight was a revolutionary thing, opening up the world to travellers like never before. Since then, there has been a number of aerospace advances improving the efficiency and affordability of commercial air travel, but arguably the most important of them all remains largely unsolved. Sure, commercial flying has improved, routes have increased, and the in-flight entertainment has improved, but commercial airplanes still pretty much fly at the same speed as they did back in the 1950s. The Boeing 737, for example, is a 50-year-old design that remains workhorses of the airline industry. When it comes to sipping a gin and tonic 40,000 feet above the ground, our need for speed remains somewhat unsatisfied. But Boom Technology, an aviation startup based in Colorado, aims to change all that. The firm is working to produce a commercial airliner that can travel more than 2.5 times the speed of current passenger jets, bringing supersonic jet speed to the mainstream. This month, the company unveiled a subscale prototype of a supersonic passenger jet it hopes can be the next generation Concorde, more than a decade after the first superspeed passenger jet plane was retired. The prototype, called the XB-1 supersonic demonstrator, nicknamed Baby Boom, won't take to the skies until 2017, which is not that far away, actually. It is 1/3 the size of the plane it hopes to be, which is designed to eventually hold 44 passengers as it shoots across the sky, cutting travel time in half. I can see this, to be honest, just being a bizjet. Let's be honest. The company is hesitant to put a time frame on when such a plane might be ready for the public, but it won't be before 2020.
Yeah, we've been talking about this stories on and off over the last year, really, Matt.
Yeah,
about the possibility of a passenger aircraft, a supersonic passenger aircraft. It would be lovely to have one back again in the skies.
It would very much so, yeah, absolutely. Actually, it does say the passenger airplane will fly at Mach 2.2 speed, a velocity which takes its name from a scale developed by the 19th century scientist Ernest Mach. Basically, Mach 1 speed means an object is travelling at the speed of sound, while Mach 2 means it's going twice as fast as the speed of sound. Yeah, sorry, it's a quick science lesson for everyone there.
But did you put the pictures up on the screen now? It looks really. It would be amazing to have something. But I think it's going to be years. Yeah, I mean, it says on the story there, won't be before 2020.
No, exactly.
I think if we see this in our before we retire,
in our lifetime. I say, given the fact that it's only talking about 44 odd passengers, though, I can really, to be honest, it's only going to be a bizjet. Let's be honest. Perhaps
we all still miss the Concorde.
We do. We do. I still, as I say, I know it was an old aircraft, but I still don't understand why it was taken out of service without a. I'm surprised they didn't do a Concorde 2 or something. Do you know what I mean? But anyway. Yeah.
So the next story on the robreport.com website, and most of you will know of the manufacturer Cirrus, who make the SR-22. I think it is the one that has the ballistic parachute. That if you have an issue, you pull the handle and you get a parachute that gently glides you to the ground. But Cirrus one step closer to launching its first jet aircraft. And Cirrus Aircraft is well known for its high-tech single-engine aeroplanes, which come with a full aircraft parachute as standard equipment. And now the company has achieved certification from the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, to start deliveries of its chute-equipped Vision Jet. The Vision Jet, which is going to cost you around about $2 million, is the company's first jet aircraft and has been in development for 10 years. It will also be the only single-engine jet in the US market and is designed to appeal to owner-operators stepping up from a piston plane. The cabin features expansive windows and seats for up to 5 adults, including the pilot and 2 children. The modular seats are easy to reposition for a variety of missions. The jet will travel at speeds of up to 345 miles per hour for as far as 1,380 miles. A side yoke for the flight controls and a single lever smart controller for the Williams International FJ33-5A jet engine will keep the cockpit efficient and uncluttered. Cirrus Perspective Avionics by Garmin fill the plane's dual touchscreens, and synthetic vision technology helps pilots land safely even when it's dark or foggy. To make it an easy transition for piston pilots to learn to fly the jet, the company has also got plans to train all vision pilots in-house with the emphasis on safety. The Cirrus training program, along with the parachute system, have been credited with reducing accidents among the piston fleet, and in 2014 almost 6,000 Cirrus piston aircraft logged more than 1 million flight hours with just 3 fatal accidents. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. I mean, Matt's got the picture there on the screen for those of you in the YouTube chat room can see this new Cirrus jet. I mean, you can see the engine's been mounted on top of the fuselage. It's got the V-tail. For those of you who can't see the pictures, it's a V-tail aircraft with the engine mounted where the number 2 engine is on the TriStar or the DC-10. And the interior also looks rather snazzy. Matt, he can put that up on the screen as well. Of the interior with the rather nice, stylish executive seats inside there as well, for those of you who can see in the YouTube chat room.
This is very posh, isn't it?
It is rather nice, yeah. So that'll set you back $2 million. So, I mean, I suppose if we won the lottery this weekend, we could afford that, Matt.
Yeah, no.
In US pounds.
No, I don't think we can.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think, well, no, all right, we might be able to afford one flight in it.
Yeah, well, that'd be enough. That'd be enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So moving on to the next story then, Matt. This one's on our local paper.
It is indeed, yes, on the local
Anglia.
chip wrapper, as they used to call it here. Very, very exciting for us, I think. This is on the Eastern Daily Press. This is the EDP. And the headline is Norwich flight at high risk of collision due to air traffic mix-up. Oh dear, this is very, very worrying. An ex-air traffic controller told a Flybe pilot on a flight from Norwich, "I'm not sure which way to go now," shortly before a high risk of collision between 2 aircraft was prevented. The incident between Mooney M20 aircraft and the DHC-8 Flybe plane occurred at 3:20 p.m. on the 15th of July, and the details of it were revealed in an official AirProx report filed by the Civil Aviation Authority board this week. It happened on the Norwich to Exeter flight, second runway approach overseen by a trainee air traffic controller after the first attempt was abandoned because of conflicting unknown traffic. The Flybe pilot had deemed there to be a high risk of collision, but the report found that although safety had been degraded, the action taken had removed the possibility of a collision. The report stated the controller acknowledged this and said something like, "I'm not sure what heading to turn you onto." Another voice, presumably the supervisor, said turn left to 180. They turned, continued to climb, and the transition altitude cleared. The trainee was quickly relieved by an on-the-job training instructor after it was deemed that the trainee had unsatisfactorily let the situation continue as the aircraft got closer together. The civil flight from Dunkswell bound for the Channel Islands had initially appeared on radar with no information on how high up it was, and as a result, the Flybe flight was told to go around, climb 3,000 feet and turn right. At one point, the Flybe pilot report that the civil aircraft was just 300 feet below, but the report found that the two aircraft were well separated at 900 feet apart. The incident had occurred after the civil aircraft failed to communicate with Exeter Airport, as the pilot had been told to contact London to activate his flight plan, but was told they were busy. What? The report concluded that Exeter's Air Traffic Control Centre had vectored or navigated the Flybe flight into conflict with the M20. A spokesperson for Exeter Airport said, as detailed in the report, the aircraft were well separated and the action taken removed the possibility of a... I don't call 900 feet... well separated. I'm sorry. And that's the information from the official report, so it's not that. This report offers valuable feedback which will be used to further enhance our own already stringent safety procedures, and we are pleased that following this report, new flight planning arrangements are also being put in place for light aircraft using Dunkswell Aerodrome. Luke, who's a representative, or who is the chief Flybe... the Flybe Chief Operations Officer said, Flybe welcomes the findings contained in the Airprox report. The airline industry operates under the strictest of regulatory schemes, which is why aviation remains the safest of all forms of public transport. I'm sorry, that's, well... I mean,
it's
people have got to be trained,
this doesn't happen all the time. It's just,
no.
It's one of those things that will obviously happen, and it's going to be investigated and stuff, but... 300. He said 300 feet below, but the report was found that they said that they were well set. I mean, I know how much 300 feet is.
Yeah.
When I'm 300 feet above the ground in the Cessna, it's not that far. 300 feet.
No,
not when you're looking out the window at the ground below you.
No, it's not far away.
And to see an aircraft at 300 feet below you, it would
definitely
scare the living daylights out of me. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, something's gone wrong if you're that close.
Yeah. But Flybe is one of those. For those of you guys in the States, Flybe is one of those popular it's kind of low-cost carrier in the UK here that flies from our regional airport here at Norwich.
Yeah.
With the Dash 400s. Yeah. So moving on to the next story, and this one is on the Tribune.com.pk. And for you Airbus lovers, Germany. So the headline is Germany Museum interested in PIA's A310 aircraft. That's Karachi, the stories come from. A museum in Germany has expressed interest in buying Airbus A310 aircraft from Pakistan International Airlines after the national carrier placed an advertisement intending to sell the aircraft all of its aircraft of that variant. The museum wants to keep it as a symbol of Pakistan International Airlines presence in Europe amongst several other international airlines. The final decision about selling it will be made after bids are opened on December the 12th. That's next week, in accordance with relevant rules. It has also been revealed that Pakistan International Airlines has acquired 18 narrow-bodied, fuel-efficient aircraft during the last 2 years, which has improved its fleet age from 14 to 9 years. The induction has meant the punctuality of flights has also witnessed an increase above 90% during 2016. Official sources at Aviation Division, while listing achievements and profit earned by PIA during the tenure of present government on Wednesday, said the organisation recorded a gross operating profit of 2.83 million rupees, or billion rupees, in the first quarter of 2015.
That's a frightening number.
The source also said that PIA also launched its Premier service initially on a London route effective August 14th this year, and response of this upgraded service is very encouraging. Indeed. So PIA also has obtained A330-300 aircraft from Sri Lankan Airlines. The sources said, in line with Prime Minister Youth Development Programme, cabin crew training centres have been established at Lahore, Nuabash, Swat, Rawalpindi, Peshawar and Quetta, besides Karachi. The cabin crew.
I'm sorry, what?
The cabin crew were trained from Qatar Airways, or Qatar, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
While new seat tablets were introduced for Boeing 777 aircraft in business class.
Well.
So the initial story then is of a museum in Germany. Then are going to have one of these. I mean, they're not a small aircraft, the A310. They're a wide-bodied aircraft. But it's nice to see that. I mean, because these are an old aircraft now, the A310. It's nice to see. They're going to keep one just in the museum for people to go and look around.
Very
We need
cool.
to go to some of these museums around Europe because
we
there are
do,
some
definitely.
fantastic
Yep.
museums in and around in Europe and stuff. So
Indeed. And the last story, as we move on to the last story basically because, as some of you may know, we've had some rather major technical problems.
interesting one this
today.
is.
Yeah, it is very
It's
interesting.
an airline
so we're going to
that
finish with
most
this
people,
story.
I think,
Yep.
have travelled on in the UK.
Indeed, absolutely. Even I have, and I do very little flying. This is on the Travel Weekly headline.
Boo.
I'll try that again, shall I? It's the travelweekly.co.uk website, and the headline is Entire Thomas Cook aircraft fleet to be refurbished for summer 2017.
Woohoo!
How cool is that? Every single Thomas Cook aircraft will be either new or refurbished in time for the summer 2017, following a £100 million investment, which is a crazy number.
Blimey.
Cook's fleet of 89 airplanes carries more than 6.7 million passengers a year to 60 destinations across Europe, Asia, Africa and America. It includes 12 Boeing 767-300s, 10 Airbus A330s and Airbus A320s, Airbus A321s, Boeing 757-300s and Boeing 767s. Travel Weekly was told the refurbishment program will be completed at Thomas Cook's conference. Will be completed at Cook's conference in Paphos in Cyprus.
There we go.
There it
You
is.
heard it here
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah.
Because Thomas Cook changed their logo, didn't they, not so long
Yeah, they
back,
did, yeah,
to
absolutely. To what we see
the
there,
love
in fact.
heart, the kind
In
of
fact,
gold
in
love
fact, yeah,
heart.
I'll pop that. It's not a very good picture, but you can just see it there. Look, on the tail fin there, little.
And a relatively new airline, Matt. I didn't realise that. Thomas Cook were actually formed in June 2007.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they were.
Didn't they have something to do with TUI or something? Or,
They are
no,
formed
that's Thompson, isn't it? No, sorry.
by the merger of Thomas Cook with Thomas Cook AG with the successor Thomas Cook and Son, and they're part of the My Travel Group PLC. So yeah, it'll be nice because some of their aircraft were getting a bit ropey, I will say. The last Thomas Cook aircraft I flew on, which was a 320, was definitely in need of a little tickle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a little tickle, he says. Yeah.
So there we go. That's a commercial news segment. We're going to bring
Yep.
to a close.
Yes.
So we've got a segment from Pip, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
We've also got a couple of bits we took from Matt's birthday party as well, with the messages that all you guys and girls sent in
that was a
for
lovely
Matt,
surprise,
which is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to close the show, we're going to just give you all guys some more info on the competition we're running for Christmas this year.
Indeed. Okay, so brace yourselves, everyone. It's time to sit back, relax. We've got a very exciting segment from the legend that is Pilot Pip. And this week, he's talking about skydiving. And he's got a very special guest.
Plane safety from the flight deck with Pilot Pip.
Hi everyone, it's Pip here with another segment for the guys, and this week I'm going to be talking about skydiving, jumping out of aeroplanes. Now you might think, what on earth, Pip, do you know about skydiving? Well, actually the answer is I know absolutely nothing about skydiving. Now if only I had somebody here who does know something about it. Anybody?
I can probably help with a little bit.
Hey, who's that, Steph?
It is.
Wow, what's a nice girl like you doing on a crappy podcast like this?
I think someone invited me here today. I'm not sure who it was, but I'll make sure I file my complaints.
Well,
with the
fancy
appropriate
seeing
persons.
you here.
Yes.
No,
very nice to be here with you, Pip. Thank
yes,
you very much
nice
for
to
the
have you
invite.
on as well. It's great if I can get someone else to do all the hard work for me. So Steph and I and Al, who has just left us, has just recorded a plane safety podcast episode, and Steph has very kindly agreed to also help me with this little segment now for the guys. So, Steph, skydiving, what is it about the sport that makes you want to jump out of an aeroplane? What's it all about?
To be honest, it's really all about improving your skill at it and always learning new it's really the self-improvement process. There's really a lot to be learned about skydiving. Most people think it's just jumping out of the airplane and kind of free falling through the air, and then at a certain altitude you deploy your parachute and then float gracefully to the ground. And that's not the case at all. There's all kinds of things you can do while you're in free fall, whether it's doing relative work with other people, so falling in formations. You can do it with a belly to ground orientation, so belly flying. You can do what's called free flying, which is anything other than belly to ground orientation, so sit flying, head down. There's all kinds of stuff, and you can even get into the point of doing it competitively, so where you're building different formations or trying to go for different records with numbers of people in a formation. And that's what kind of keeps me going back to it, is always that self-improvement and being a better skydiver and learning how to do more different and fun things.
Mm-hmm. And so for you, what came first? Was it the learning to fly, or was it the skydiving?
Oh, it was learning to fly. Absolutely. I've told this story before, but that kind of came about when I was in residency. After I completed my undergraduate medical education, I matched with a program out in eastern North Carolina, and great program for residency. And while I was out there, I through one of my colleagues at work, became friends with a flight instructor. And I used to do some babysitting for them. And then at one point he said, well, instead of us just paying you for babysitting, do you want to just, go for an intro flight? And that was really the best sales technique anyone's ever used on me, because then I had to spend all of my money learning how to fly airplanes. And it just so happened that the little airport that we were flying out of and doing all my flight instruction out of also had a skydiving school, commonly known as a drop zone, place where skydivers get together and jump out of airplanes. So for quite a number of years, I became friends with all of these guys and gals and watched them jump out of airplanes, and I never had any desire to really do that myself, other than I was like, well, I'll do a tandem jump. That could be fun. So I did one of those, and then like a year later, I did another tandem jump, and then a year later, I did another tandem jump. But it wasn't anything that I really pursued. Wasn't really until I had finished all of the vast majority of my flight training. I'd already completed my private pilot certificate. I think I had my instrument rating. I was working on my commercial and multi-engine stuff, and I had at some point accumulated 4 tandem jumps. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can do another tandem jump. I think I probably just need to see if I can figure this out for myself.
Okay.
So.
And what's the progression? At what point? Do you get a license to jump? Is it like flying?
And I pulled up. I'm not as familiar with what happens in the UK, and it looks like it's a little bit different. But real quick, I'll just go through what happens in the United States. At most, so there's actually a governing body, the United States Parachute Association, and they more or less accredit different drop zone schools who meet their standards. And those schools will offer what they call first jump courses, and then also accelerated free fall or accelerated free fall progression courses. And basically to get an A license, which is where you're allowed to not only jump by yourself, but jump with groups of other people who are not instructors or coaches or otherwise, you have to go through a whole series of learning how to do different things, different maneuvers, different ways to turn your body, doing front flips, back flips, basically things where you become unstable and then show that you can become stable again in a belly to earth orientation. Typically requires 25 jumps, and you have to be signed off on all of those jumps. There's different things on the proficiency card that you have to complete, and once you have your A license, then as long as you make a skydive every 60 days, you are essentially current, and you pay your dues to the United States Parachute Association every year.
Right. And generally, is it an expensive hobby compared to flying?
So it is expensive at the onset, definitely. I forget what so like the first jump course in and of itself was something like, oh gosh, I forget. $300 maybe, but you can easily spend a couple $1,000 just doing the training. And then once you're finished with your training, most people want to get their own equipment instead of renting gear. Mm-hmm. So that can cost anywhere. I mean, most people will actually get used gear first. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good quality used gear out there, because as skydivers progress through different levels of competency, they generally will downsize their canopies for something that's higher wing loading, something faster, a little bit more aggressive, more fun to fly. So that stuff just gets kind of passed down, and working with a certified rigger who can look at and inspect all of that equipment, you can find some really good stuff out there for quite a discount. But getting your own complete rig, so a container and harness system, a reserve canopy, a main canopy, an automated activation device, which is kind of a safety system that will deploy your reserve parachute if you failed to do so in a certain time period and you're still traveling a certain speed through the air or at a certain altitude. That can easily run anywhere from, $5,000 to $10,000.
Yikes!
So it's not cheap. But then once you've basically laid out all of that financial component, skydives then become fairly cheap, generally in the $25 to $30 per skydive range.
Sure. Now, talking of equipment, I saw on Twitter the other day you posted quite a cool little time-lapse video of you packing a parachute. Mm-hmm. Now, that would make me as nervous as heck, relying on my own skills to pack a parachute. Is that something you need to be signed off to do, or is it a case of it's your parachute, it's your life?
It's part of getting your A license here in the United States. So in order to get an A license, you actually have to attend a course to learn how to pack your own parachute, and you'll be supervised doing that numerous times. And from there on, you're basically signed off on how to do it. There's nothing exceptionally difficult about understanding how to pack a parachute. It's basically making sure that you've managed all the fabric and the lines to make sure that everything deploys in an orderly fashion, so you don't get lines looping over fabric that can cause problems and quote-unquote malfunctions. So once you understand that process, that's the easy part of it. Sometimes the hard part is if you're dealing with a newer canopy, one that's really crispy, it doesn't like to pack as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can just be tricky at the onset of figuring out how to get all the fabric folded and get it into the main deployment container without letting it all kind of, spill back out of the top. So there's a lot of practice that goes into it usually, especially at the onset. I'd say that I'm still kind of slow at packing my parachute. So if I'm, at the drop zone and doing stuff with groups of people where we're trying to get on loads more quickly, they actually do employ people to pack the parachute for you. And I know all of them and I'm comfortable with them doing that. Sure.
Now we wear parachutes when we do the gliding thing, but
Really?
Yeah, we do. We wear parachutes. I would hate to have to use them because I wonder. I was thinking about this the other day when we were doing the spinning exercises in the gliding. Let's say for some reason we had to bail out of the glider at 2,000 feet. I'd imagine it would take me a couple of seconds to make that decision, a few more seconds to jettison the glider canopy, so probably lost a few more 100 feet by that point. I wonder if there's enough height, it's 1,500 feet, for example, enough height to get out and deploy a parachute and,
sure.
Not plummet into the ground and kill yourself.
Depends on what kind of parachute you have in there, and I'm assuming it's more like one of our reserve parachutes, which is going to open and deploy very quickly. And the reason being is because they know that's your, you've had to cut away from your main parachute, which generally has more of a docile opening. It may take, 1,000 feet in some cases if you have a really slow opening parachute to fully inflate. But the reserve parachutes open very quickly, and in fact, I was talking about that automated activation device that's installed on a lot of skydiving rigs. Those are set to deploy anywhere between 750 and like 1,200 to 1,500 feet, depending on what you want. But generally, if you reach that altitude above the ground, 750 being generally the lowest, and you have not deployed your main parachute and it senses you're still falling at a terminal velocity, it will deploy your reserve. Now, you're not going to have a lot of time under canopy, but it might be the difference between, saving your life and not. So.
Yeah, well, I hope I never find out.
Exactly. Me too.
Yeah. So where's all this leading for you, Steph? You want to get into competitions or formation skydiving? Or you're just in it for the fun?
For now, it's just for the fun of it. I enjoy it. I don't, I probably get out there once a month or every other month and make a couple of skydives, and that's about all I have time-wise to do that. So for now, it's just something that I enjoy doing on the side.
Super. Well, good for you. I must say, I'd do it if someone offered me the chance, but I don't feel any urge whatsoever to get up there and jump out. But fair play to you.
But just real quick, you mentioned, this is the safety segment. So there is a lot of safety planning that goes into skydiving. It's not just people jumping on an airplane and then jumping right back out without any consideration for what's going on, from taking care of your equipment, making sure that things are packed appropriately, making sure that you've checked and double checked those closing pins and checked for other people if they ask you to, making sure that all your gear is in working order, making sure you know the weather conditions, making sure you know where the winds are coming out of so that you can land safely, making sure that you're spotting before you get out of the aircraft, make sure there's no airplanes below you, nothing that you don't want to fly through below you. That's all goes into account. So,
yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of basic airmanship sort of things that we'd have in common with flying airplanes, lookouts, and just good common sense sort of things to consider. Super. Okay, well, Steph, hey, thanks very much for doing this little segment with me. I'm sure the guys will love to hear your voice on the podcast.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. Thank you. So, everyone listening in Plane Talking UK land, until the next segment, take care and fly safe, and we'll hand it back to Carlos and Matt.
The Plane Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.planetalkinguk.com,
or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/planetalkinguk, on Twitter via @planetalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@planetalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Wasn't that nice? Thanks ever so much for that pilot bit,
wasn't it? Yeah, great.
That was
segment.
great segment. Yeah, and it's so nice to hear Dr. Steph.
Yeah, brilliant. Talking about skydiving.
I know. I tell you,
I still don't understand why people would jump out of a perfectly functioning aeroplane. I will never ever understand what's. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of our friends makes a good living doing flying that exact same plane, but I notice he never jumps out of the silly things.
No. But it does prove a point that you do. It's one thing you need to do is pack it properly.
You do, yes, absolutely. If you get it wrong,
it's going to be like
it's a very expensive.
It's going to be like an umbrella coming out of the back. It's not going to work very well.
Indeed.
No, so thanks very much for that, Pip. Don't forget you can find Pip over at the Plane Safety Podcast on iTunes. And catch up with him for his latest episodes, which should be good. I think he's got a new one coming out soon. I think Pip has.
No, cool. Yeah, excellent. Good. Yeah. And you'll say take yourself over to the Plane Safety Podcast website. So we're going to wrap up 141 in just a moment, but we've promised a few because it was my 40th birthday party as we discussed at the start of the show last weekend, and we were lucky enough to have a few listeners there as well. And with a little help from the tech genius that is Nev, we do have a couple of little videos, including some wonderful voice feedback that I very kindly received via Carlos at my party, and we're going to play a little interview that Nev did with us at the party. I apologise, I was a little drunk, and also I'm going to play out the birthday messages as well. So sit back and relax. Here we go. We'll be back very shortly.
Everybody, Nev here, reporting from the famous Three Cooks restaurant in Bungay. What a place it is. And we're here with Matt and Carlos because it's Matt's 40th birthday.
Hey, I told you there's no such thing. It's the 30th anniversary of my 10th birthday. No, not that way round. Whichever way round it is. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I may have had a couple of sherbet lemons this evening.
What sort of day have you had, Matt?
I've had a really nice day. I've just been sort of sport rotten, really. I went to a gentleman's grooming parlour. And my friend who's over there somewhere, he's a barber. Carlos uses him as well. I think, Nev, you're coming for your next haircut, I think, as well.
I only went yesterday, but I know it doesn't look like it, but there you are.
But, went to Swagger and Jack's in Norwich and I had my first ever cutthroat shave, which I've never had before. So, hey, you know. Honestly, this is really awkward.
Very nice, it does look as well. Yeah, superb.
And I've been styled, which is a first. I've never sort of had my hair done. Yeah, thanks, dear. Thank you. yes. I'm not the only one that's had a couple of drinks. I think this is the thing. But so it's just done that really, and just sort of started in the checkers about. I'm being put off here, aren't I? Yeah. To have a couple of drinks in the checkers down the road, and then came here. So it's been a very lovely and lazy day.
And a nice turnout as well. A lot of your friends here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's appropriate somehow, I suppose. 40 people for my 40th birthday. So yeah, pretty good. And as you would expect, the lovely Chan and Stuart have done an incredible job, and we've all been beautifully fed. And yeah, that's not my cheesecake you're eating, is it? No, we'll fall out. But it's been absolutely amazing. Chan, come and say hello. Come here. Come on, darling. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, come on. No, come here. Yeah. So this is the lovely Chan, as I say, and Stuart over there. Minnie, just go over there. There we go. This is lovely Stuart. These people own this wonderful restaurant that we've been eating in this evening, and and Chan has done such an incredible job on the amazing food, and with help from what I can only describe as an army of people. But it's been absolutely brilliant. I can't believe that every single meal that has come out has just been like you just coming on an ordinary night out. It's just been brilliant. So thank you very much. But you can go now. It's all right. It's fine. Yeah, you can go now.
Yeah, absolutely superb food, wasn't it? Really, really nice. And of course we've got Carlos here as well.
Yeah, greetings, hello, and welcome to episode number. Oh no, we're not on the show now. 141. Yeah, we're episode 141. Yeah, it's been a fantastic night. So it's still early. So we had a fantastic meal, great beer for the likes of Captain Jeff and Dr. Steph and Nick and Rick. We've had the Green King IPA, and it's a lovely beer. And we had some great food. And we've got some music coming up later, and we've also got some special treats for you later as well, mate. Special treats.
I've heard rumours.
Yeah, it's all a bit top secret at the moment. All will be revealed later on. But of course, it's not your birthday until later next week. So what are you doing then? Are you going to?
I've just got. Most people are back to work, so I'm just going out for a meal with Geordie, my best friend Geordie, Jill, my mum, and Jay. Nothing against you guys. But yeah, I know. Hey, okay. Bye bye. So we're just going out for a meal in Yarmouth in a very nice Indian restaurant there. So just doing that for the actual day. But yeah.
Nice one. Well, really looking forward to all of that, and thanks very much indeed for speaking to me, and thank you for inviting me to your party as well. Really enjoyed it.
Integral part of the team, sir. So it's nice to have you here.
Nice one. Anyway, have a happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you.
Hi there, it's Glenn Towler from New Zealand. Just for us say happy birthday, Matt. You, where would we be? Plane taking UK be without you? With your great technical knowledge and trying to keep everyone under control. Anyway, have a great birthday. I wish I could be there, but maybe one day I'll come over to the UK, but who knows when. I hope you guys come to Oshkosh, but I think it looks like you're doing Pittsburgh instead. Anyway, blue skies, tailwinds, Glen out.
Hello, this is Jenny in Rome, and I'm just sending this message to wish Matt a really happy birthday. I hope you have a great time with your big party at the restaurant and with all their friends and family. I'm sure you'll have a great time, and very well deserved. And so from Rome, as they say here, tanti auguri. Bye.
Hi Matt, it's Captain Al here. Sorry I can't join you for your special birthday. I've just had a few minutes to drag myself away from playing Lego Dimensions. Hope you have a super time, and I'll catch up with you soon. Remember, 40 is the new 30, my friend. Toodle pip.
Hi Matt, it's Liz Piper in Toronto. A little bird told me it's your birthday. Just wanted to say hope you have a great day and thanks for all the great work you do on PT UK. Enjoy the show so much. Cheers. Bye.
So it's Matt's birthday and his anniversary. As he put it, it's the 10th anniversary of his 30th birthday. Well, as a man with perhaps just a few more years on you, Matt, I can say it's not so bad to be where you are age-wise now. But things will start to change soon. I wish someone would have warned me about these things when I was your age. For example, your hair will continue to grow, just not where you would want it. It's okay though, they have battery-operated and even rechargeable electric trimmers for that now. I won't get into the other details here, Matt, but we can talk about them privately, where I can be, well, shall we say, discreet about excretion? In thinking about my own maturity, I often think about my father and how much I see myself turning into him. That's not a bad thing. I admired my father and still do. I often remember things he would say as a matter of habit. One phrase that he regularly used comes to mind right now. He'd use it when someone would do him a great favor, or he was making a toast to a good friend. And in quoting from my father, I'm going to say that phrase to propose a toast to you, my friend Matt. You are a gentleman and a scholar, a judge of fine liquor and beautiful women. And by the way, Matt, I can prove it. Let's look at each part of that phrase. You are a gentleman. What does gentleman mean? Well, it's a contraction of two words, gentle and man. Gentle is defined as kindly, amiable, not severe, rough, nor violent. Well, that's you, my compadre. You are no doubt a caring individual. Now the word man. Well, that's an adult male person, as distinguished from a boy or a woman. Okay, no need for further explanation there. But the two words together form the word gentleman, and it means a man of good family, a civilized, educated, sensitive, or well-mannered man. Well, I've never met Mama Smith, but I'd like to. There's a good family. And the rest? Well, there's no doubt. No arguing. Matt, you are a gentleman. Now let's look at the word scholar. A scholar is a learned person with a profound knowledge of a particular subject, as well as a student. Matt, you are certainly a learned person. You have a profound expertise on many subjects, including computers, the internet, and broadcasting, among others. But you're also a student. As a gentleman, and we just went over that, you gave me a great honor in helping you learn about a subject you wish to know more about, aircraft. That makes you a student too. In other words, Matt, you are undoubtedly a scholar. So we're up to judge of fine liquor, and you may be asking yourself, how does this apply to me? Well, let's think back on it for a minute. Remember the Farnborough meetup? How could you forget? Almost 5 months ago now, yet very fresh in my mind. The friends, the feelings, what an amazing few days it was. Well, on that last day, Sunday, we were all together at the end of the show. We were on our way to have a drink at the pub in the Holiday Inn Farnborough. As it turned out, the timing didn't work, but you said to me, "Oh, I'd love a Pimm's and lemonade." "What's that?" I asked, and you told me. It sounded wonderful, so after we said our goodbyes, I ordered one, and it's my new favorite mixed drink. So being that Pimm's is liquor, or a liqueur rather, there is no doubt you are a judge of fine liquor. Now about beautiful women? Okay, this may be my favorite part, and it's the easiest to prove. Recently, right here on Plain Talking UK, we saw you, both in videos and in still photos, in the company of beautiful Barbara Parrish. Well, there we go. By the way, it was Barbara's birthday just a few days ago. Happy birthday, Barbara. What does it feel like to finally reach the age where you can legally drink here in the USA? Anyway, now to get on with the proof. As we think about it, you've had both Mila and Jennifer on the show via Skype. Now sure, although you weren't seen with them in person, you were in their company nonetheless. By my count, that's 3 beautiful women I've seen you with, and I'm sure there must be others. So the last part of the phrase was the easiest to prove out. So happy birthday, Matt. You are a gentleman and a scholar, a judge of fine liquor and beautiful women. I know I only sent you a card, and not a real present, but should I win the lottery between now and the Pittsburgh meetup in May, I plan on flying you out. Now I know you're not a good flyer, so I suppose I'll have to arrange for a Pimm's cup to be placed in front of you, and Barbara Parrish on one side of you holding your hand, with Mila on your other side. Then you can have both a beautiful nurse and a beautiful pilot there to comfort you and soothe your fears. Of course, if that's not enough, we can try to get Captain Al somewhere nearby too. But maybe not too close in a closed environment like an airplane. Or maybe at least give him the promise not to have a curry 2 or 3 days before the flight. Happy birthday, my good friend Matt, and many, many more. For Plane Talking UK, here in Portland, Maine in the USA, this is your main man, Micah.
Happy birthday, dear Matt. It's Mila here. So I heard you turned 30 again. I might be wrong, but hey, who's counting? It sure suits you. Carlos has made sure you won't forget about this birthday anytime soon, and I hope you really will enjoy it as much as we all did preparing for it. I'm really sorry I can't be there with you guys tonight, so please accept this virtual hug. Have a wonderful party and please share some pictures with the community. You know, so we can continue to have caption contests and all that fun stuff. Happy birthday, Matt, and many, many more. Oh, before I forget, here's 3 kisses because that's what we do in the Netherlands. Take care. Bye.
Hello, Matt. Nev here. Hope you're well, sir. And yes, it's your birthday, so that's pretty special, isn't it? And 30. It's the 10th anniversary of your 30th birthday, as you call it. But well, I have my doubts about that. But anyway, today I'm joined in the studio, a rare appearance by Mrs. Nev.
Hello, Matt. Yes, it's me. I've come to wish you a happy birthday as well. 30 plus 10 years. Gosh, well, I don't think it's midlife crisis time, and you're definitely not a grumpy old man yet. You've got an awful long way to go for that. And I don't think you could be a grumpy old man anyway, because you're far too nice for that. Have a great time, Matt.
Let's not mess about, Mrs. Nev. He's 40, isn't it? That's the real age.
Shush. It's not 40.
It is 40.
No.
I know it's 40. You know it's 40.
I know, and I'd love to be 40 again. It was so great.
Why are we dancing around the houses like that? And anyway, what are you doing in here anyway? You only normally come in here to clean and take away the coffee cups and the wine bottles.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Fine. I'm off.
Anyway, have a great time, Matt. Look forward to seeing you again soon, and hope you have a great one. Cheers, matey. Bye-bye.
And it's safe to say I certainly did have an absolutely fantastic
I know.
night.
That was fantastic.
Guys, I mean, as I say, Carlos played them out to me actually at the party. It was just great to hear. And as I say, hopefully you enjoyed a few of those little videos as well of the event. So that is my birthday well and truly wrapped up and done now.
Definitely. For another year.
I ain't doing that again, I'll tell you. And that's
what she said. So I had to get that one in.
I've been waiting to play that. Anyway, listen, guys, thank you very much for the wonderful. And I got a lovely card. I think that I've had some great cards over the last few weeks, but I have to say that the highlight for me personally was I received an envelope that came via airmail. And airmail, and in the top right-hand corner, it had a post stamp on it that said Portland, Maine, and I was a little bit sort of blown away. I've actually kept the envelope. That's how much.
Really?
It was really cool. So thank you to the legend that is Micah for my birthday card, and thank you very much to Jeff, Captain Jeff, as well, because he signed it as well. It was just, honestly, it was the best.
That's pretty amazing. You should have that framed.
I will have it framed. Don't you worry about that.
I'm slightly jealous.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. So thank you guys for helping to make a day I was dreading so very special, frankly. But yeah, we had fun, wife, didn't we? Yeah, never mind.
Gemma's here. Micah did say earlier that he did say hello to you, Gemma.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
You are absolutely, yeah. Well, no, you're the PT UK wife. You see.
Yeah. Is it wags, wives, and something or other?
That sounds derogatory. I don't think you should use that term.
I don't know.
Anyway, that is where we have to wrap up episode number 141.
It's been a quick show. We did have, like I said, we had slight issues with YouTube in the States at the beginning of the show, hence the reason we were a bit late starting.
So apologies for that.
Minor technical hitch.
We're going to put the military segment. We're going to do an extended military segment next week to make up for not doing one this week. So sorry about that, ladies and gents. And Mr. Warner has agreed to give give us a hand to do
next
that
week.
next week.
Yeah,
So
on 142. That'd be 142, Matt.
142, absolutely.
Right, so
Yeah,
before we go, just a quick mention about the Christmas
yes.
caption
absolutely.
competition
Yeah.
we're running for this
Do you want
year's
the picture
show.
up now?
If Matt can put the picture up on the screen, just for
There we
those
are.
in
Okay.
YouTube. So we've had a few come in via our email, which is the way we want you to send your answers in via the email address. And we want you to come up with the wittiest caption you can for this photo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, we've had a few in, and which have been
one
rather
or two
amusing.
Of them one or two of them, I should stress, that can't be broadcast. But never mind. Yes, I don't know quite what Captain Al was doing to me, but never mind. It's generated a perfect photo competition for our Christmas.
That was taken by Dan Hannington at Riyadh this year.
Yes, which is why my shock and surprise is so beautifully clear and sharp.
Yeah. So thanks again to Dan Hannington for taking the photo. Don't forget you can find all the wonderful aviation photos that Dan takes at he's on Instagram. Instagram.
Well done. Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say. Yeah. But if you go on to Instagram, you can find him at DH_aviation_photography.
Right.
Dan Hannington's there.
But I'm sure if you Google Dan Hannington photography, you will find all manner of bits and pieces.
But get your captions, the funniest captions you can, into our email address, which is...
Yes, that is podcast@planetalkinguk.com. You can get in touch with us via social media, both Facebook and Twitter, and you just need to search for Plane Talking UK. And of course, our website is www.planetalkinguk.com.
But all the answers or all the captions must be sent into our email address,
yeah,
please.
Absolutely. Don't. Carlos has now posted the picture and stuff, but don't put them in the comments there. Email them to us, please.
Yeah, and then we'll announce the winners.
Yes.
On our last live Christmas show before we finish for Christmas this year. Which will be awesome. We're gonna have a nice Christmassy show this year for sure.
Indeed, yes, we've got something in the pipeline, haven't we? Actually,
yes, we have.
Very excited about that. Anyway, that's where we must bring episode 141 to a close. Thanks very much to everyone, as always, for being part of the show. We'll see you all next week. I think we're recording next Friday. I think.
Yes, next Friday's fine.
So yes, from all of us here in the studio, it is goodbye.
Goodbye.